Okay, I think we are good now. We are good now. We are good now. We are good now. Yep. So, all right. So I was doing some context things. Context. All right. So what basically I got it from here is that first we have to create a context and then we have to make a tunnel. All right. We have to make a tunnel and in which we have to pass the context on it. All right. So this is the context tunnel. I mean, we cannot prop drill, right? So that's why we will put the like value on the tunnel, and wherever we wanna fetch it, we wanna mm, wanna get the value, we can get it. All right. So now we have the context. We created the context with this complex interface, and that has an object of kind string. All right. So what then what? All right. So we made the tunnel. Okay. And now we have the context as kind string. Right. In this interface, we need the data in this structure. Right. So we have it in this my context app, like the object, and I'm using use memo to memorize this function, memorize this variable. So basically it's a, what do you call it, basically it's return an object which is kind is king. All right. So this is in this complex content structure. All right. Now we pass the value as an we pass the object as the value here, and then like we are putting the value on the tunnel, that is object here, and now we wanna access it in inside component. All right. So how do we access it? We have to like create a use get complex hook. Okay, hook, and will that will again call another hook, that is use context. All right. Use context. First we create the context and use context, and use context would take a parameter, that is the context which we created initially, and then we get the object. All right. So we have to check. So basically we are like creating a hook, because sometimes if the if the structure like could be null or could be undefined. All right. So we have to could be empty, so we have to like make it type shape, so that we have this structure type complex content, and then we also have a null for like undefined values. All right. So first we will check this inside the hook, that if the object is there, and if it's not there, then we just throw an error. All right. And if it's not, then we will return the object. Okay. So this thing, this hook, we call it where we want to access it. Like in here we are accessing it inside the component. All right. So we'll call it inside the component, and so basically the object, it returns an object. So I have the object dot kind, and we get it. All right. So basically it was just same as this. Okay. In this talks here. So I made the theme one also, but I just changed the file structure. Like I just make it separate, like for each file, like the context file is another folder, sorry, another file, and then we have the theme app, and then we have the child theme. All right. So basically we are defining all the logics of context in here, and then we are like, this is the main tunnel where we start using this, and this is the place where we want to access it. Right, that's it. So I got the entire idea how the use context, I mean the context API works. Right, so it's very easy. All right, now are we good? Are we good? Use context, I mean the context. Oh, hey, okay, we are good. We are good. All right, now we gonna read use memo for this. Note: React compiler automatically memorize values and function, reducing the need of manual use memo calls. So you can use the compiler to handle memorization automatically. Okay, so I guess this is the new feature in React, I guess 19, because I guess when I was started using the React, then it was not there. So I got the news about it, like they just started to auto memorize the component. All right, the functions and values. Okay, now the use memo hooks will create reaccess and memorize value from the function called rerunning the function only when dependencies passed as a second parameters are changed. The result of calling the hook is inferred from the return value from the function in the first parameter, and you can be more explicit by providing a type of argument to this hook. All right, so what is it actually? So a lot of people, I guess a lot of people know it, like know the use memo as a memoizer or cache or whatever. Okay, cache thing. Okay, so basically it's not a cache, like it's check, like it's check the previous value is different from the new value or the current value. Okay, if it is, like it is, if both the, like if the current value and if the previous value are same, then it'll, like it'll like it'll be same. Okay, it'll be same. So basically it will not run. All right, and if, okay, let's ask him. So use memo uh work as cache. Yes. Okay, okay, okay. Look, this is it. Without use memo, React calculates every value every time and component re-renders even if the inputs have changed. Okay, so with use memo, React will store memoize the result of the calculation and reuse it on the next render as long as the dependency are the same. Only when one of the dependencies in the array changes will recalculate the value. I mean catch is like uh, if if React knows what dependency value values give What if React knows what dependency value give specific result? Is it or just it check for the previous value? Okay, look. So basically it's only the last one, alright. So React doesn't store the whole string dependency result mapping. It works more like this. First, on first render it runs the calculation, stores the result as a dependency array on the next run is check auto dependency exactly the same swallow comparison as the last time. Yes, return, okay, no, then convert again. Okay, that's it. That's the that's it. Okay, so just it will check the previous value of the dependency. If it has changed, then it will run. If it is not changed, then it will not run. All right, same as the use callback. Same as the use callback. All right, so use callback is the same, but what is it? So use callback is used to like memorize the function, I guess. The function's type is inferred from the return value of the function in the first parameter, and you can be more explicit and providing type arguments too. Alright, so I see the visible to do is use memo, and then this is an entire function, and then in this function we have a callback function that will return something. Okay, that will return this filter array. Okay, filter array. Mhm. And use callback is like this. Okay. Um. Okay. So when working the TypeScript strict mode use callback requires adding types of parameters in your callbacks. What does it says? That when working in TypeScript mode, use callback requires adding types for parameters in your callback, and this is because the type of the callback is inferred from the return. The type of the callback is inferred from the return value of the function, and without parameter the type cannot be fully understood. Depending on your code style preferences, you could use event handler functions from the React types to provide a type for the event handler at the same time as defining the callback. All right, so we have the use state and handle change use callback. Basically it's an event and which does this. Okay, what does it say is that requires adding type parameters. Adding types for the parameter in your callback. Okay, I got you, my man. Got you. The parameters type will be required for the callback type. Okay, so basically for this event, what type of event is this? It's a change event handler of input element change. Okay, useful types. They're quite an expansive set of types which comes from types React package, and it's a worth a read. When you feel comfortable with the React and types to you can find them in React folder and define type. Okay. Oh, oh my god, there's a lot of types here. Okay. Now, DOM event. When working the DOM event in React, a type of event can often be inferred from the event handler. Event handler. Okay, event handler. However, when you want to extract a function to be passed to an event handler, you need to explicitly say the type of the event. Alright. Now, this is a form, and then we have the use state, and then change. Okay, on change. So basically, we have the same change event React which was used last time in the callback. Right, I know it. I know it. There are many types of event provided by the React types. The full list can be here, and which based on the most popular event in DOM. I'm wondering that if I could go to the yep, 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 the specific place where I could know the form event. Form event. Right. So this is the form events. Correct. Let's see. Clip clipboard event, drag event, pointer event, focus event, form event, change event, invalid event, modifier to key, modifier key, interface keyboard event, uh-huh. Mouse event, alt key, button, client X, client Y, control key, touch event, wheel event, animation event, transfer, event handler type. Right, so when determining the types, you can looking for first look for the hover information for the event handler if you are using. So which will show you the types of the event. Okay, yep. If you need to use the event that is not included in the list, you can use React synthetic. That's that is cool, by the way. I was thinking of that it's everything extends from synthetic event. So why not use synthetic event? All right, type, which is the best type for all event. Okay, sorry, base type, not the best type. Okay, so children. There are two common paths to describing the children of the component. The first to use the React node and or JSX. Yep, or JSX. React node type, which is union of all the possible types that can be passed children JSX. Okay, like children is children. Okay, I know that. Now, second is, this is very broad definition of children. The second to use is React element type, which is only JSX element, not JavaScript primitive like string or numbers. Only React element, React node, and React element. All types can be passed children JSX. And here what it says, which only JSX element and no JavaScript primitives like string or numbers. All right, now node. Okay, that you cannot use TypeScript to describe that the children are certain types of JSX element. So you cannot use type system to describe a component which only accepts li children. Okay, either we have to use React node or React element. Okay, so you can see the board example this, which type checker is this. O जिगरा दलेर ना के नाम सुखा तू. Okay, so we have the children React nodes prop. So we have this thing, this component R node, and which takes children and render the children. All right, React node app. This children, 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 children. Okay, so basically it's a React node, correct? That's why you can use anything, primitive, string, numbers, and JSX elements also. But in here, it's a React element. That's why we cannot use this thing. Okay, we cannot use this thing. All right, we can use just this thing. All right, that's it. Okay, messed up children though. Yep, yep. I got it. I got it for the learning. Now, this guide has covered the basics of using TypeScript and React, but there is a lot more to learn. Individual APIs pages for our docs may contain more in-depth documentation in how to use them with TypeScript. We recommend following resource the TypeScript handbook, the official documentation for TypeScript, and cover most of the key language features. Okay. I never have had seen or practiced TypeScript. All right, or read any manual or document or docs of TypeScript. I just on the go. I'm just learning TypeScript just until since when the AI came into the picture, like the market. No way, cannot learn TypeScript, but yeah, we are learning now. The TypeScript release notes cover more feature in depth. TypeScript release note. Okay. Get started. Handbook. Narrow interpretations. Uchakritle sukanam chakapam. React TypeScript cheat sheet. Let's see it also. Get started. Okay, this is cool. This is cool. This is cool also. All right. Now React developer tools. React developer tools, inspect React components, edit prop state. Okay. I know it. What the heck? Interesting. Okay. So we encourage everyone to start using React Compiler. While the compiler is still an optional addition to React today, in the future some features may require compiler in order to fully work. It's a safe to use. What build tools are supported? Okay, React compiler can be installed across several build tools such as Babel, White, Metro, ResBuild, and then RSBuild, and then React compiler is primarily high Babel plugin wrapper around a core compiler, and which was designed to the decouple from Babel itself. And while the initial stable version of the compiler will be remain primarily in Babel plugin, we are working with SWC and OXC teams to build first-class support for React compiler, so you won't have to add Babel back to your build pipeline in the future. Next.js users can enable the SWC invoke React compiler by using version 15.3.1 and up. What should do about use memo and use callback on React memo? If you're using React compiler use memo, this can be removed. React compiler add automatic memoization more precisely and granularly granu granul granularly granular no granu no gra granura granularly granularly granularly. That's it. What does mean? What does this mean? Slow? Okay, deep dive. Possible with this hoax if you chose to keep manual memoization. React compiler will analyze theme and determine if the manual memoization matches its automatically inferred memoization. Okay, let's see. What it does. Okay, so use Next.js and build. How do I access? Flip a switch, tell React from Next.js, get React compiler from a build to understand what it is. Okay, React compiler is a new build tool from React team that analyzes compile code and insert automatically insert use memo this like it's rendered without writing manual, but it's not sure. Next, Canary. Canary build up next is supports the compiler. So React compile Babel plugin. Update your next one with this. Set action React type tools. Okay. So basically, it is now built. Exactly. So React compare essentially build time tool like Babel instance with wallpaper runs the browser. Okay, so we have already covered the basics of all of this thing. Okay, now your first component, gallery. No, I don't need this. I don't need this. I don't need this. Yo, I don't need this. What a pure function. Okay. Okay. So basically, pure function is a function is a function that we can guess. Okay, that we can guess the result. Okay. So what is it? It is deterministic output. Okay, same input, deterministic output. All right. Now, no side effect. The function does not change anything outside its loop. Oh, lost you the job. I'm back, I'm back, I'm back, I'm back. Alright, so pure function, okay. Pure function, okay. Pure function, that is deterministic output. That means guessable. Okay. Second is no side effect. No uh, changes outside the scope. Okay. Okay. Now, okay. So some JavaScript function are a pure function, and a mind your own business, and it does not change any object or variable that exists before it was called. Same input, same output, deterministics. All right. Now, by strictly our only writing your component as pure function, you can avoid the entire class of baffling bugs and unpredictable behavior. As your code base grows, here's an example of an impure component. All right, so I have a cup function and a okay, so I guess the guest is in outside the scope of this function. All right, so it's basically changes the guest, and that's why it is not pure component. That's it's a impure component. You can make the component pure by passing the prop inside of modifying the pre-existing variable. All right, so now what could I do is you can make this component pure by passing the prop instead. Okay, so I'm gonna pass the prop. All right, I'm gonna pass the prop. In here I pass the prop guest and this guest. Okay, I got you, my boy. I got you. I got you, my boy. Okay, so remember one thing. Passing prop is pure. Okay, passing prop is pure. Returns also. components memory. So components memory, components components memory. Components often need to change what's on the screen as a result of interaction. Typing into the form should update the input field. Clicking next on the image carousel should change which image is displayed. Clicking buy products or products in the shopping cart component need to remember things: the current input value, the current page, the shopping cart. In React, this kind of component specific memory is called state. You can add state of component with use state hook. Hooks are special function that lets your component use React feature. State is one of those features. The use state hooks lets you declare a state variable. It takes the initial state and returns pair of values: the current state and state setter function. Okay, I know it. Here's how the image gallery uses update on click. Okay, so what it does, I have a gallery function and we have a bunch of state, index, and show more. As next is index, then sculpture list length -1. And what we're doing in here, that on handle next click, if has next, then sec next is this, otherwise this. Okay, so handle more click, show more, this sculpture data is this. Okay, so basically if I do next, then next, and if I'm on 12, then I'll go to 0 again, then 1 again. Okay, okay, show more as next. Okay, so what I'm doing is here, I have the button H2. Got render and commit, trigger, render and commit. Okay, so before your component are displayed on the screen, they must render the React. Understanding the step of this process will help you think about how your code executes and explain its behavior. Imagine that your component are cooks in the kitchen assembling the tasty dishes from ingredients. In this scenario, React is the waiter who posts the request from customer and bring them to the orders. This process requesting the serving UI three-step, triggering a render, delivering a dinner's order to the kitchen, rendering the component, preparing for order in the kitchen, committing the DOM, placing, changing. Alright, now okay, what is this, man? I thought this was something. Okay, so there are some interesting topic in here. Okay, status snapshot. Let's go to this. Let's go in here. And now what I will do, I'll just adding event handles. Okay, buttons, then I don't do anything. Okay, now I put on handle click and that will alert you click me. Okay, cool, 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 cool. And now okay, pitfall. Okay, yep. We do not call a function in an event. All right, we just put a reference because when we render the page, when we render the component, at that time we do not want to call that function. We only just want to call the function when it is being triggered. All right, so that's the crux of it. Okay, I know it already. And another one is, let's say if I have a parameter to pass in. Okay, so at the time we just use a callback function. Okay, we just use an anonymous function to wrap it over. All right, that's it. They said, if you want to define an event handler inline, wrap it in an anonymous function like so. Rather than executing the code inside, with every render, it creates a function to be called later. In both cases, you pass the function. Okay, that's it. Okay, let's read about the arrow function in more detail. Okay, what is it basically? JavaScript info. Looks great. Okay, I liked it. Okay, now there's another very simple and concise syntax for creating function that's often better than function expression. It's called arrow function because it looks like this function. Okay, now this creative function that accepts argument this and evaluate the expression on the right side of the, and then use it the result. It's a result. Okay, now in other words, it's a shorter version of this. Okay, now let's see the concrete example. Sum this. Okay, as you see, a b and means function that accepts two argument name a and b. Upon the execution, it evaluates the expression a plus b and returns the result. If we have only one argument, then parentheses around parameter can be omitted. Okay, that's cool. That's more cool, man. I swear, more cool. Making them even shorter. For example, this double and this, then and into 2, roughly the same as double and this. Okay, now if there are no argument, parentheses are empty, but they must be present. Okay, if there is single, then we can remove the parentheses, and if it is empty, then we have to. Okay, for instance, this is cool, man. This is great. This is also great. Okay. So arrow function may appear unfamiliar and not very readable at first, but that quickly changes as the eye gets used to. Okay, they are very convenient for a simple one-line actions and when you are using lazy to write many words. And multi-line arrow function, multi-line arrow function, the arrow functions that we have seen so far, very simple, very simple. They took argument from the left this, evaluated from the right side this. Sometimes we need a more complex function, sometimes we need a more complex function with multiple expression statement. In this case, we can enclose them in curly brace. In curly brace. Okay. So I just had read this that when we want to return this, if it is in inline, then we have to use parenthesis. If we are if we are returning an object inside it, like inside a callback function, what we do inside an arrow function, okay, is callback function and arrow function different. Yes, and what the fuck? Okay, arrow function, syntax style, callback function. Okay, no, 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 no. I was wrong. I was wrong. Okay. Now this arrow function. Okay. Now this arrow function. Okay. So I was talking about when you wanna like return an object. Okay. So at that time, if we are returning an object in inline, at that time we use parenthesis. Okay. So because like why we're using parenthesis, so when we are like directly like returning this in curly braces, it takes as a expression. Okay, it takes an expression. All right, it's like it is mentioned here, like sometimes we need a more complex mention with more expression as statement. So basically when we are grouping this thing, then it always uses this curly braces. All right, so for the same inline, if you are returning, let's say let's say like foo and bar, like foo as a key and value as a bar, then just like we can wrap it inside this, but it is not valid because it is a expression. So at the time we use parenthesis. All right, so we are praised arrow function for brevity, but it's not all. Arrow function have other interesting feature. To study them in depth, we need to get know some other aspects of JavaScript. So we will return the arrow function later in chapter this. For now, we can already use arrow function for one-line actions and callbacks. Okay. Now, summary. Arrow functions are handy and simple. Actions is special for one-liners, and they comes for in two factors without curly braces. Yep. The right side an expression for function evaluates the return the result and this okay, and with the curly braces. Okay, brackets allow multi-line space on basically an expression. Okay, now tasks. Okay, so task rewrite the reference on this. Ask this okay, so ask this function ask, so I'll do const ask is this, and then it will take 3 argument, and then it will okay, great, I can do it. uh, oh dang, okay, dang, they didn't change this, they changed this. Okay, so basically what they did is this is a function and alert this, so I'll directly like I call what I call like this. ओ जिगरा दलेर तुखा नाम सुखाना जिगरा दलेर सुखा नाम तुखा Yep, yeah, fine. Oh my god. Oh, Chigrat later Sukhanam. Okay, now reading props and event handler. Reading props in event handler. Alright. Now, because event handler are declared inside the component, they have access to components prop. Uh, and here's the button. When clicked, shows an alert. It's message prop. Okay. So okay, message playing and then uploading alert messages. Play movie, play, load image, loading. Okay, now this lets two buttons show different messages. Try changing the message password. Alright, now passing event handler, passing event handler as prop. So basically passing function as a prop. Often you will want to parent component to specify child event handler. Consider button descending on where you are using button component, and you might want to execute a different function. Perhaps one plays a movie, another uploads an image to do this. Pass a prop the component received from its parent. Okay, so basically now what do you do? That on click is coming in from here. Okay, this is a button. It takes on click as on click. Mhm. On click this. Got it here, the toolbar. Mhm. Okay, Okay. Now, if you use design system, it's common for component like buttons to contain styling, but not specific behavior. Instead, component like play button, upload button will pass event handler down. Naming event handler props built-in component like button deeps only support browser event like on click. However, however, when you are building your own component, you can name the event handler props any way you like. For example, the button component on click prop should, I know it, man. On mash. Okay. Notice how the app component does not need to know the toolbar with on-playing movie uploading. This is a implementation detail toolbar here. Follows them down as a on-click handlers to the button, and but it could later also trigger them on the keyboard shortcut naming props after app specific turns on play mobs. Okay, so what it does is on move playing. So we have app, then we have toolbar, we have to on play movie, alert this, and on play upload image. Okay. So toolbar is two button. Okay, on play this and this. So basically, we are passing it function, arrow function that alerts something. Okay, on play move, on play this. Okay, we have the button command also. Okay, now make sure that you use the appropriate HTML tags for event handler. For example, to handle click push button this instead of on click handle click. Okay, yep. Okay, event propagation. Okay, so today I was just working on some modals, I mean the pop-ups modals. So I there got to know about the propagation. So basically, like it's something to subtract. All right, something to subtract. So event handler will also catch events from any children, any components might have, and we can say that elements in bubbles or propagates up the tree. It starts from where it event happened and then goes up to the tree. Okay, so this div contain two buttons. Both the div, each button are div and each button have their own on clicks handlers. Which handles do you think will fire when you click the button? Okay, so what I have is I have a toolbar, then a div on click alert. Okay, so if I click on this, it will of course show me you clicked on the toolbar. Yep, it showed me. Okay, now if you check the either button on the on click, it will run first. Okay, now if I click on this, I think it will show two things, playing then toolbar. Okay, now followed by parents. Yep, now so two messages will appear, and if you click on toolbar itself, it will parent this. Okay, so stopping propagation. Okay, now what we are doing is that event handler receive the event object as the only argument. By convention it actually called e, and which stand for event, and you can use the object to read the information about an event. That event subject also lets you stop propagation. If you want to prevent an event from reaching parent component, you need to call e-propagation like button component does. Okay, now the button I have is this. Okay, on click हो जिगरा दलेर तुखा नाम सुख तू. Okay, so I have the button component in here, and it will just render the button element, and while I on click, it's trigger an event, and that does two things. First, stop the propagating, and then just it will call the on click. Okay, now I have the toolbar. In this toolbar, I have a div. If I click the alert, will this alert, and if I click on button, on click is this. Okay, that's it. That's it. So basically, I used in button, correct? I use it in button. So if I click